What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video. We're at the original gym here and not at the new one. Essentially the game plan is I'm going to maintain memberships at both. I do like having my kilos at this gym, and then it's close to home, so if I don't feel like traveling too far. I've been doing bench here consistently just because it's nice with the kilos. Everything's kind of set up just how I like it, so sticking it out over here. And then more of the leg day stuff, lower body stuff, I'm definitely having a better time doing them at the second team. So it's going to be a mix of both. Sometimes life happens, and yeah, I don't need to worry about it. As long as the work gets done, that's all that matters. I used to be a kilo purist, but now I'm starting to realize it doesn't really matter, because as long as you're doing some sort of work with them during some sort of time frame, you'll be fine. So sticking it out here. A lot less people, so obviously a little bit easier to train, but you can kind of see, you've been seeing in other videos, kilos are right there, and this is my usual bench setup. So I've also got some bars and stuff here too, so if I ever, want to use my own stuff, I can do that. This is my power bar actually, and I've got a deadlift bar, a Kabuki transformer bar, and then another power bar. So it's just stuff I've accumulated over time here, and it's just easy to be able to come in if I need to train, just kind of focus and not have to wait around at other gyms. But I'm glad to have that mix of both. Finding that most gyms struggle to find their identity. They don't know. They're trying to service a certain type of clientele, and when that clientele doesn't take the bait, so to speak, or enter the gym, then they shift to whoever else is already there, and it totally defeats the whole purpose of the gym. So just marketing essentials that people need to learn how to do and how to get to your base and stuff like that. So it's no different than people that are watching this video now. It's not for everybody. I'm not the shredded guy. I'm not the strongest guy. I'm just putting out content here for everyone, and whoever decides to watch it watches it. And then once I can get, a gauge of what people like to see, I'll tend to shift towards that. But we got some growing to do. We got a lot of things planned that I'm gonna try, and yeah, this post-surgery period, I really just want to get back to where I was, so I have a nice baseline and I can really start pushing stuff and being able to handle all that. So everything's a process, nothing is overnight, and that's what this whole series should teach you. If there's any lesson to be taken, you're going to take 3 steps, 4 steps forward, and you may have to take 5 back and kind of rinse and repeat, and sometimes you'll get ahead and sometimes you'll fall back. So just do what you can do consistently, have a game plan, and adapt when necessary, and that's just the key to success in a lot of different ways. So, there's my little rant of the day and little motivational stuff. But basically, the whole goal is to just get strength back, acclimate myself to the weights I was doing. I enjoyed building as much strength as I could over the years, and now it's time for some refinement. We're not in our 20s anymore and can't recover like crazy. So I got to be a little bit more strategic with what I'm doing and accepting certain limitations, especially with mobility when it comes to that bicep and shoulder on the left side. So we're going to work back into things. And so honestly, I am prepared, to kind of make those changes, and I've had to accept my situation, so it is what it is. We're not going to keep pushing stuff and being unhealthy. I want to lift until, the end of my life or whatever. So we have to work around stuff, and, hitting weights and stuff is cool and everything. Everyone's kind of on their own trajectory. It just really depends on what your goals are in line. And again, I have no aspirations to compete in any sort of powerlifting, strongman, anything like that. So I have all the time in the world to do what I need to do, and I'm going to dedicate that time appropriately. Try different things, and plug and play what works. That's the thing with a lot of this activity stuff. Like there's other things I do outside that are not just like gym related. I'm kayaking stuff, I'm boating. There's other things that I'm balancing, and sometimes in the gym training is super specific towards in the gym training. So there is some carryover. It's good to be strong, but it's also good to do other things to be well balanced. Back at the other gym here, so if you can kind of figure out the plan here, I'm mainly going to do the lower body here. And so we've got a lot of different machines, different rack here. There's only 2, but a lot of people don't tend to use the racks. The machines kind of divert all that traffic, which is great for me, because I love coming into a gym and having a rack ready for me. Should have stabilized that walk out a little bit easier. And they do have a transformer bar, which is probably one of the rarest pieces of equipment you'll find in a gym. That's why I ended up buying one. I was just afraid that they were going to go out of, stock or whatever, or eventually just get discontinued, because they're expensive. I'm not going to lie. I think I dropped like $900 on that bar with tax and everything. So it's an investment that I've got now. So to me, it's worth it. It's not for everybody. If you're a healthy human being who can straight bar squat, just do that. But this is just nice to have. And again, like any other hobby, it's an investment. I've dropped a couple grand on my kayaks and stuff and all the other stuff that I do. So a lot of those, you get years worth of use out of them. You make modifications and do all the same things. No different than this. Certain people are going to train at certain gyms because they've got what you want. Most people can get away with commercial gym training and basic stuff. This is how I like to train. I like to train heavy with free weights and then supplement it with the machines in the back. And a gym that has, this type of environment where they're willing to use pieces and establish themselves as a gym that collects equipment like this and not many other people have is a benefit. You're not going to see this at most other gyms. You got a lot of repertoire of tools that you can use. So again, I'm somebody who's always going to stick to the free weights, but adding in the additional stuff is just, like I said before in the previous video, the cherry on top of all this stuff here. You don't need a lot. Anything muscle building is all just stimulation via engagement from outside forces here, whether it's cables, whether it's weights, whether it's something else. You can even do body weight for the hell of it. But in order to maximize your strength potential, you need the external stress of weights to do it. So this is taking some time. I think this is the low bar setting. I play around with it recently, and I didn't really like it too much. I'm not as much as you'd think I'd be a low bar guy. I just simply am not. I like when that bar is up high and I can maintain it. The way I squat, that's just how it is. I've got super long legs and like no torso. So when I squat to depth, that upper body tends to not cave forward, but there's just not enough torso to maintain like a more upright position. So I just do what I can. And my glutes and hamstrings and posterior chain has gotten a lot stronger doing that. So pulling 500 here again. I think my goal here was I wanted to lift heavy, both conventional and sumo. Obviously sumo is a little bit easier, and then that 500 was rough. So I went over to pause deadlifts, which I never do. So I'm kind of using this YOLO adventure as, something to try out different things. And I mean, they were fine. I don't think where I was pausing is not my weak point on deadlifts. Where I need to pause would literally be like at lockout, which is just a rack pull, which I've tried in the past and got nothing for. So it is what it is. So I don't really care, to be honest. So, but just kind of messing around here since we're not quite on a program. As we inch closer to that portion where we are, that's when we'll kind of dial in the movements here. And here's the giving birth leg press here. So again, I like the stimulation. I like having the weight above me. It's just a better contraction and feeling for me. But man, does it look funny. There's a Smith machine with a mirror up there, so Lord knows what everybody else is seeing, but it is what it is. In my legendary leg press range of motion with how long my lower legs are and my stomach. So like my knees will literally cave into my stomach, and that's as much as I got. So I don't know. I'm messing around with this, thinking about other options. There's another leg press here. May not include it, but it's just been a staple for years. So more angles of me compressing myself here, and it's just, it's a cool machine. Safety spots on the right here. You can see that handle you can adjust range of motion wise, so you don't kill yourself doing this thing. A little bit interesting to get into, and you can see the leg press on the far left over there, right in front of the logo. That is the Elite FTS one, which you can split up into doing unilateral stuff. So it's fine here. I have another angle of this. I don't know why. I just have a lot of leg press footage. I think I was experimenting to see which is the least creepy angle to film myself at. So, super interesting. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's the work. I'm showing you kind of everything that's going into this whole system and program. So, if you have a vertical leg press, it's very interesting to use. This one does have a weight capacity limit, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to use it for, just because I know I'll be able to surpass it. My leg press has always been super strong, and again, it's the shortened range of motion, which is how I'm built. And I don't know, I've just always been a good leg presser. I don't know if this is a pendulum or a swing squat, whatever it's called. Maybe swing is the name of this brand, but super interesting squat, just to kind of change the angles. Very strange, honestly. It took some time and a lot harder than you think. I think the curve that this functions on, I've seen people do so many more plates than me, but I squat more than them with the bar. So I don't know. It's again, it's specificity. How you train is how you perform. And I just want to experiment with this. It's really good for the quad activation, obviously, because you can sink so deep into the hole. But yeah, I don't know. We're already doing a lot of quad activation with all the other lifts, so I'm not sure if I'm going to continue it. But like just another example of a gym buying a piece of equipment you're not really going to see anywhere else, and then you can use. If you don't like it, that's fine. Somebody else may like it a little bit better. So there's just a whole lot of different machine equipment here that I'm happy to have access to. It does look really cool. It's like you're in some like sort of spaceship thing or whatever here. But nice contraction though. I'm not gonna lie. It is cool to use. Maybe if you're somebody who wants to get away from the barbell squat for a while, maybe on like a deload or something, this could be a good alternative. To me, with squats, just maintaining that range of motion and depth is always the most important part. And it's just a different feeling when you do it plate loaded with a straight bar or any sort of free weight bar. So yeah, you can see the fatigue there. I didn't. You don't need much weight to get a good workout here. So the people that are doing like strength sets, maybe 6 reps or under, I could see pumping that out. I don't know how I was doing, 10 to 12. You can count. I'm not counting. I'm doing this audio recording. And yeah, I don't know. There's ways to progress on this that if I wanted to, I could. So maybe in a future set of videos or programming, maybe I'll run with one of these. Maybe if I want some time away from the leg press. But once I find an exercise I like to do, I like to stick with it and run with it. And, there's some carryover with other stuff you can do, though. But the more you kind of fragment your workouts with machines and you kind of get away from the main objective, which is either to squat more, whatever, you start diluting strength. And that's why I make sure to do my strength stuff first. So in the previous video, we had a different ham curl. We're doing the bilateral movement here. And I do like the lying one better. I feel like it's just a better contraction. The seated one is a very weird angle. I think it's easier to kind of raise your butt off and kind of lose tension there. So I'm going to be happy to run with this. You have to be careful with your lower back, though. It is, again, it's like doing preacher curls for your hamstrings on both machines. But I do like it. It's a lot more comfortable. And I feel like the contraction, it's a longer range of motion compared to the one where you are seated like an extension and then you kind of just curl it together. So. But yeah, you can see all this equipment here. We've got a lot to use. Stuff may change. Here's the workout. And enjoy the rest of the videos to come because we got a lot more. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using wet shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.